MP Electricity Regulatory Commission, presently member of Global Expert Advisory Council of ISA, and also a member of Research Council of NPL. Mr. Jha is a mechanical engineer from Ranchi University and also a law graduate from Delhi University. He has more than 42 years of experience in all areas of power plant, right from conception to design and engineering, erection and commission, project management, human resources, operation and maintenance, and R&D. Mr. Jha.
Respected Shri Anil Kakotkar ji, former Chairman Atomic Energy Commission, Shri Pranav Mehta ji, Chairman Global Solar Council, Shri Shalendra, CEO and MD, L&T Power and Director on L&T Board, Shri Praveen Saxena, Executive Director, NTPC. I would like to extend my warm welcome to Dr. Kakotkar and thank him for being always supporting to this conference year after year. I have also been associated with this Chemtech for the last 6-7 years, and I have seen that every time he comes and blesses us. Thank you so much, sir. I would also welcome Sri Pranav Mehta ji, Chairman Global Solar Council and Founder Chairman National Solar Energy Foundation of India. Sir, your presence here is proof that kind of interest the conference has generated, and we are looking forward to your keynote address to learn new learnings from global experiences to effectively meet the challenges being faced by the renewable energy sector. I also take this opportunity to welcome all the speakers, session chairs of different sessions, and all the delegates attending this conference over the next 2 days. So the theme of the conference is most relevant in the present context, both from domestic and global perspective. The technology for clean power like solar and wind have been available for a very long time, but they were very costly. And therefore the key word is affordable, which is in the theme. Till the end of January 2020, India has installed 86 gigawatt of grid-connected renewable energy, comprising mainly of 39 gigawatt of wind power and 34 gigawatt of solar power. Although there has been some stagnation in growth of solar power in the current financial year 1920, it is expected to be a very temporary phase. The slowdown has been basically on 3 grounds: sharp drop in tariff, which has created doubt in the minds of financing agency as regards to the viability of such a low tariff over the next 25 years. B, on account of recent announcement by AP government of not honoring the solar PPAs signed during the previous regime, which has again created a certain amount of uncertainty. And the C, also over the confusion over the domestic safeguard duty of 15% that was imposed on import of solar panels in 2018 for a period of 2 years, which will expire in July 2020. Till July 19, developers were fighting legal cases to see that how the increased cost of the solar panel on account of the additional 15% duty can be passed on to their tariff. But as I said, these are temporary setbacks, and India is all poised to pick up again, and the solar capacity addition is going to increase in the coming years. Now, what are the challenges for this kind of a solar addition which we have seen? Typically, the share of renewable energy in the grid was 6.7% of the total generation in FY 2017, which is likely to be over 10% in FY 1920. Now, looking at the 10% figure, it doesn't look very alarming that it cannot be absorbed by the grid. And so what is the challenge? But if you look at the peak RE generation versus the peak of any particular day, then the challenge is very visible. On a typical day, in renewable energy rich state like Karnataka, I have a figure of one particular day, the daily peak demand met was 8,468 megawatt on 28th of August 2018. And the renewable energy peak on the same day was 4,285 megawatt. But mind you, the daily peak and the renewable energy peak, there was a time lag. So when there was a renewable energy peak of 4,285 megawatt, the daily peak at the daily requirement at that point of time was only 7,800 megawatt. Meaning thereby that 55% of the peak energy was being given by the renewable energy, which in other words means that the conventional power plant like thermal and gas have to back down by 45% of their capacity in order to have no curtailment of renewable energy power. Now that is the biggest challenge which the country is facing today. And with further increase in the renewable energy capacity, how the integration of renewable energy into the grid in a smooth way can be done. And that is what we would be discussing on the conference over 2 days. And this large-scale RE addition to the grid is creating another challenge for the grid management of the country. And that brings to the second part of the theme, the innovation, integration, and adoption. So we are saying affordable RE energy, innovation, integration, and adoption. In this 2-day conference, we have sessions on RE integration with conventional sources, which will address as to how the cyclic operation of thermal power plants can be improved by retrofitting and RNM. Because we do not have enough hydro capacity, we do not have enough gas turbines to take care of the cyclic loading of renewable energy. And therefore, the cyclic operation of thermal power plants, coal-based, how it can be done to accommodate more and more RE in the existing thermal power plants by retrofitting and other technological improvement is issue on which the session speakers will enlighten you. We also have sessions lined up on RE storage technologies, including forecasting and scheduling from experts in the field on how this can help smoothen the grid operations. Recently, Honorable Power Minister, Government of India has dedicated to the nation 11 regional energy management centers for effective RE integration. These REMCs will do real-time forecasting, scheduling of renewable energy and try to minimize the fluctuations to the extent possible. Another important change which is on the horizon and which is going to happen is the advent of electric vehicles in a big way. And what will be the impact of this on the grid? For example, in UK, the National Grid has forecasted that there will be up to 11 million electric vehicles on road by 2030. And what will be the likely impact of large-scale EVs on the grid? If all the 11 million electric vehicles are plugged for charging, say between 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. after people go home from work, and we are using standard 7 kilowatt chargers, that is 77 gigawatt of demand. Between 5 to 7 p.m., 77 gigawatt of additional demand, that is UK's peak electricity demand more than doubling. We need to think in those terms as to what will be the impact of EV revolution on the grid in India as well. Smart charging could be one solution, where charging is optimized to match the grid supply and demand patterns to lessen strain on the grid and reduce the cost. But for that to succeed in our country, we need to have time of the day metering for domestic consumers as well as smart metering. We have session 3 on smart power, where experts from respective fields will share their knowledge. I'm sure this 2-day Power World Conference will be very useful for all the participants and will go a long way in finding solutions to present-day challenges due to large RE integration. I once again welcome you all for contributing in every way to make this conference very successful. Thank you so much.
Now I will request Mr. Pranav R. Mehta, Chairman, Global Solar Council and Founder Chairman, National Solar Energy Federation of India, to present his keynote address. Mr. Pranav Mehta, former chairman, Global Solar Council, is a global solar energy thought leader.